we're gonna get on a little bit of an anime kick here for the next two topics. I got two anime shows I want to talk about. The first one being My Hero Academia. I know this show was incredibly hyped, like super hyped. A lot of people sing the praises to this show, and I definitely see why. I watched the first three seasons. I haven't seen the fourth. I think that the fourth one's the most recent one. I haven't seen the fourth one yet, but I've seen the first three. And if you're unfamiliar with My Hero Academia, it's about it takes a place in a world where I believe 80% of the population have superpowers. They call them quirks. Like some people can run really fast, manipulate fire, manipulate water, some other like super strength and stuff like that, invulnerability. There's one character who I guess like sweats nitroglycerin so he can like fucking like blow shit up. I thought he's pretty awesome. He's one of my favorites. But yeah, very unique. Everyone has different powers, but 20% don't have any powers. And our main character is one of those. No, I think it's 10%. It's one of like 10%. Like 90% of the people on the planet have quirks, and like 10% don't. And our main character, Izuku Midoriya doesn't have a quirk, so he's quirkless. And they're kind of a little bit looked down upon, and you can see why you root for him because he doesn't have a quirk, but he really wants to be a superhero. He looks up to this other superhero called All Might, who's like the greatest. He's like the number one hero, the most powerful hero, and he looks up to him, and he wants to be the next All Might, but he can't because he doesn't have a quirk. So yeah, I mean, spoiler alert, he obtains one. But I mean, it's like in the first fucking couple episodes. But yeah, that's kind of where we start out with this series. And I mean, just first of all, like the animation is really awesome. It's really beautiful. It's sick. There's a lot of action in this show. It's a very action-packed show, and all the action is very entertaining and it's animated incredibly well. I really thought it was really great. Sort of kind of like how Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, I talked about how the characters were so good and they did the characters so right. I think it's very similar here. I think all the characters that are in this show really make this show what it is. It's all about the characters. They make them very unique in pretty much every way. That's the design of each character, the different quirks of each character, their personalities, their backstories, even the villains they make very uniquely. And I thought every single character is incredibly interesting. I loved pretty much every character. There's really no character that I thought was irritating, maybe other than like one or two. But every character is pretty awesome. And like I said, the action is it's very action packed and it's very rampant, but like it doesn't take away from anything. The action when it happens is epic and awesome, and it does like it's very like I don't know what the words pretty much describe it, but like I don't know. It's very engaging. The action is very engaging, and our main character Midoriya is very lovable. He's very easy to root for. If he wasn't very easy to root for, I don't think this show would really work for me. But he ends up being a really easy character to root for and really like. But yeah. So yeah, even if you don't like the main character, there's like a bunch of others, 19 other characters in his like school class, his superhero school class that you can get attached to and like. So there's a bunch of characters. They're all very unique and they're all very awesome. I mean, All Might is my favorite. I love All Might. He's kind of the shit. He's kind of the best. So yeah, like I said, all the characters are very unique, and it really it's the heart of the show. It kind of like if this show didn't have good characters, the show wouldn't succeed. It would be pretty terrible. But that doesn't say like the world building and the main story isn't awesome as well. I just don't think it's as prevalent as say another anime that I will talk about next. It's mainly the show's base. It's held up by how awesome its characters are. So yeah. So like I said, I've only watched the first 3 seasons. And I haven't seen season 4, so I can't attest to how good season 4 is. But I will say this is one of the shows that gets better over time, in my opinion. I enjoyed every subsequent season. It seemed like even more, or I was just as invested. So like a lot of times with shows like long running shows like this, it kind of tails off as further as it goes. It kind of dips in quality. Like the first season's usually the best. Not here. Here, I think the show improves as it goes on, which is always a really good sign. Like I said, I don't know about season 4. I haven't seen it, but I'm really looking forward to watching it. Every season makes you get really excited for the next one. So binging it's kind of awesome. So yeah. I think there's only maybe like a couple of falters I think the show has. I mean, it is pretty cliche. It's pretty predictable. I mean, it's a story about superheroes. I mean, it's not always predictable, but most of the time you can, like, you see where it's going. At the very beginning, you're like, well, he's gonna get a fucking quirk, or this show would be kind of lame. So, I mean, like I said in previous Nerd Out Sanctuary episodes, being cliche is not always terrible. It's not always a bad thing. You just kind of have to do the cliche right. And I think this show definitely does. So I don't really have too much of a problem with it being predictable and cliche. I mean, there's some surprises, but not a lot. There rarely any. But I mean, like, you don't really, like, the surprise factor in this, in, like, the main story is not the primary reason why people love this show. It's the characters, so you don't really need to impress me with surprises and reveals too much. But yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic show. I highly recommend, especially if you're like into superheroes and you're kind of on a superhero kick. Definitely check this one out. Even if you're not a huge anime fan, I think you'll probably still really like this one. I mean, it has those anime cliche, like corny, fan servicey type of moments for sure, which always kind of bother me a little bit. It's like I don't really need that to enjoy a show. But it doesn't really take away from how good the show is and how investing the characters are. So definitely, I thought it was really cool. I thought maybe they could go into the world building a little bit more. I don't know if they do that in the fourth season. I feel like they can do a little bit more about the world and how the media treats like these superheroes. They kind of play with it a little bit. They don't really delve into it incredibly too much. I thought they probably could do that a little bit more. Like how the other people treat these superheroes. I mean, like I said, they do it, but it's just not incredibly prevalent too much. So we'll see about that. But hopefully the character building keeps on being awesome. They introduce a couple new characters at the end of season 3. And I'm looking forward to getting to know them a lot more. So, yeah, My Hero Academia, definitely check it out. Like I said, I mean, it's a good entry point for people who aren't very familiar with anime to really be like, oh, like this is really fucking awesome. So, yeah, My Hero Academia, definitely check it out. It's pretty awesome.